So I want to talk about the concept of God in terms of like the way people who are atheists or agnostic, right, like non-believers, oftentimes you hear them say, you know, if God exists, why does he allow such evil to persist? And I feel like the question to that is rather simple. I just believe that many people oversee it due to the mass hypnotism that many find themselves under. So many Christians believe that the devil, who they often, pose as Lucifer, is he who deceiveth all nations. But to deceive is to mislead by a false appearance or statement, to delude, to cause to accept as true or valid what is false or invalid. Logically, then that would mean there's no deception. If 2.3 billion people have the awareness, have their finger on who the deceiver is, that's not a deception. That just reveals the convolution. That just reveals the strategies of war. That just reveals the methods of the enemies and the ways in which their dark magic hypnotize the mind and subvert the original story and confuse the mass mind into worshiping the deceiver, into worshiping a false god, whilst believing in their methods of using the true God as a scapegoat for its crimes against humanity, right? That's deception. Just verbally, in authenticity, that would be a deception. If you had 2.3 billion people worshiping God whilst supposedly having the awareness of who the devil is, then the devil's not really deceiving, right? And so to me, it makes perfect sense, right? As we know, Christianity is really just a subversion of paganism. It would make more sense to me that the Christians, the 2.3 billion people, are the ones who are being deceived by he who deceiveth all nations, right? And so it's a complete subversion of the gods. And that is the war of good versus evil, right? You have, Jehovah, who also poses as Moloch, Baal, Yahweh. These are all synonymous for the dark lord, the evil entity, he who deceiveth all nations, right? The actual devil. As I always say, the greatest trick the devil ever played was not convincing you that he does not exist. It was convincing you that God is the devil and that the devil is God. Lucifer, the true Christos, right, where the authentic primal originality of Christianity derives from, has played as the fall guy for the deceiver of all nations. And this is why I believe that evil still persists, why degeneracy and demonic regimes are so, have such a stronghold on all nations. It's because of this misunderstanding. It's because we have 2.3 billion people being deceived by the Dark Lord, therefore empowering his evil reign. The entire Christian story is obviously, a complete subversion of the true story of Christos. And we see this in the ways that the story of Odin and his crucifixion on the world tree mirrors that of Jesus Christ on the cross, right? And so everything has been subverted, but when we recognize the themes that mirror each other, we can begin to understand how things have been so convoluted, right? You have to understand plagiarism, you have to understand archetypes, and you have to understand the hypnotism that took root in the collective mind in the age of Pisces, right? It is said that in the protocols of the learned elders of Zion, they said that their mission, their objective was to destroy God. And so then in just being real with that statement, it makes perfect sense to recognize the mental manipulation that took place when Christianity, snuffed out paganism that existed thousands of years before Christianity ever was. You can effortlessly then begin to see how the true deceiver of all nations has, succeeded in destroying God, right? It all makes perfect sense. It's so easy to connect the dots. It's just that we have to realize that, you know, Christianity is Talmudic hypnotism, right? It has the lot of us worshiping a false god, the true deceiver of all nations, and therefore empowering his evil reign, which then concludes the reason as to why evil persists, why such a demonic reign is able to take root within all nations. So, you know, the evil ones, the ones who have falsified a God in order to cast a spell, in order to hypnotize the mass mind, has, you know, succeeded then in his objective to destroy God, right? To destroy the true Christos, right? So Christianity is black magic. It's the black magic of Zio, that which hijacks the Aryan mind through hypnosis, disabling them from the language of the occult, derailing them from the path of the original Christos. He who is the Nordic solar hero, who is Lucifer, the most beautiful light, the polar solar Christos, who changes skins and names through the ages, but whose essence remains eternally the same, the god of the losers, the scapegoat for the false god of the demiurge, Yahweh Jehovah, he who shall be vindicated. And so this leaves one to ponder, right? Like, how do we vindicate the god of the losers? How do we vindicate the one who has been used as a scapegoat for the true deceiver of all nations? Right? This takes awareness. This takes discernment. This is something that can be sourced within the blood memory of all Aryans, right? Miguel Serrano has said that only when all men, animals, plants, and rocks have cried their last tears, clamoring for his return, men and the earth dying, poisoned, will the luminous divine face of the God-man be seen again. And so this is the key to eradicate all falsity. This is the key to vindicate the God of the losers, the true Christos, by recognizing the dark spell of Zionism and the ways in which it works to convolute the image of the true God, of the original Christos. I just wanted to make that stream in an attempt to, you know, illustrate the ways in which the authentic Christos has been subverted, and you know, the reasons why such evil persists in these lands, due to the fact that 2.3 billion people are worshiping and therefore exalting a bloodthirsty, demiurgic, false god, right? It makes total sense. One just has to use their discernment, navigate this world of illusions through the memory that is sourced within their astral blood. May this ignite that truth within you, because this is the heart of the war, it's the convolution of God. It's the ways in which our God has fallen due to this hypnotism, due to the dark magic of Zionism. I'll also go ahead and stream some more key factors in regards to this battle between gods within the description section of this video, for more intel, just to expound on more truths of this subversion, and also in an attempt to offer forth keys that will ignite this deeper memory, right? Again, there's a reason why such evil persists. It's because the Dark Lord is the one who reigns, and that's due to the fact that 2.3 billion people are, worshiping the enemy's God, so to speak. The truth is out there, and the time is now to resurrect the true Christos, right? Because that is the only salvation for our kind, right? It's blasphemy, it's traitorous to worship the enemy's false god. He who has successfully deceiveth all nations, right? He who has destroyed the image of the true Christos. It's up to us to empower and therefore exalt, right, the true light of the original Christos. Miguel Serrano says that, we do not celebrate the death of the white gods. And the death of the white gods is the story of the eradication of our true religion, that which is paganism, that which has been, destroyed. God has been destroyed by Christianity. It is a strategic religious method of the enemy to disempower us, to sever us from the true occult wisdom sourced within paganism, right? Within the religion of our ancestors. And so, yeah. This is important to know, guys. This is because in these times, you know, people are feeling hopeless. And so the first thing I see them turning to is Christianity. And, you know, it's just sad because those who are magnetized to Christianity in these final hours of the darkest age, they think they're doing the right thing, right? In a bout of desperation, they are seeking for any remnant of a light left over within this dark world. And, you know, through that weakness, they surrender, they capitulate, they, you know, sacrifice themselves on the altar of the false god, on the altar of the deceiver of all nations. And it's just such an obvious final blow to the Aryan. So check the description. I'm going to leave much more keys, much more codes, and seek through the heart, use your discernment. The memory is sourced within our astral blood, guys. It's